Greetings, our dear ones. Today we will look at how physical ailments affect the spiritual development of a person, and therefore, its energy component. Probably, many of you have already seen on your own examples or on the examples of other people how a person's worldview changes when an illness stops him running, pulling him out of his usual life. Of course, much here depends on the spiritual potential of a person and the age of his soul. So, a person who is completely at the mercy of three-dimensional programs, in the event of serious physical tests, is seized by fear and despair, which only aggravates his situation, exacerbating his illness, and therefore increasing suffering. And the person who is potentially ready to move to a new stage of his spiritual development begins to rethink his life, thanks to fate for the opportunity given to him to stop and, having made a sharp turn, start a new stage of his life. And now let's see what happens in the energy space of a person in the first and second cases and how the processes occurring in him affect his inner state. A material person immediately begins to look outside for the cause of his misfortunes, blaming people, circumstances, fate for what happened, which, combined with the energy of fear for his life, creates real whirlwinds of negative energies in his aura. These energies knock down the entire fine-tuning of the human body, incapacitating the chakras corresponding to these energies, as a result of which the state of the physical organs of his body, directly connected with these chakras, is disorganized. The most striking example of this is cancer metastasis spreading throughout the body. So, the energies of fear, despair and powerlessness, resentment against life and people literally devour first the energy centers that control the physical organs of a person, and then these organs themselves. And of course, whole hordes of lower astral essences immediately flock to these energies that are tasty for the astral, which complete the destructive work of negative energies, as a result of which a person dies rather quickly. And what happens when a person, who learned about his serious illness or received serious injuries, did not become embittered with life and people, but instead tried to rethink his life and understand the reasons for what happened? Here, seeing his wise, spiritual approach to the situation, all the higher forces come to his aid and, nourishing him with divine energies, help him move in the right direction towards his recovery. Gradually, such a person has a complete rethinking of his life, a search for the meaning of his existence, gratitude for the lessons learned and even for his illness, which help him wake up from the darkness of three-dimensional life and look at himself and his environment with completely different eyes. These light, high-vibration energies begin to cleanse and heal first his chakras, the subtle senses, which in turn start the healing process of the associated organs of this person's body. It is very important to remember, my dear ones, that all processes in your body always begin with an energy component, therefore your internal state, in which its physical aspect plays a huge role, depends on what energies your thoughts and emotions contain. And if you learn to regulate these interdependent processes in your energy space, then your inner state will always be harmonious and balanced. So, we have examined two components of the inner state of a person, energy and physical. And now let's see how they affect his mental state. If we consider the human psyche as a combination of his energetic and physical state, then it completely depends on their harmonious relationship with each other. The next chain is being built. Negative thoughts and emotions disrupt the work of the subtle sense organs of a person, his chakras, which in turn leads to a disease of the organs of the physical body, which these chakras supervise. As a result, the human psyche suffers. In addition to physical discomfort, psychological discomfort arises, which does not allow him to live a full and happy life. Sometimes it happens that the energy imbalance has not yet manifested itself on the physical plane, but on an intuitive level, a person already begins to feel that something was wrong and falls into depression. Sometimes he himself cannot explain to himself why he had this inner discomfort. In fact, this is how his soul tries to reach him, to make him analyze his inner state, to understand what was the cause of this discomfort. If a person listens to his soul and begins to unwind the ball of his thoughts and emotions, which launched the energy virus into his subtle bodies, then he can reverse this process by removing the cause of the psychological problems that have arisen. If he continues to go with the flow and look for the reasons for his deplorable state outside, then this will only aggravate the situation and can provoke not only physical ailments, but also mental disorders. Never forget that it is the energy component that is the starting point of this or that development of your inner state. If your energy is unbalanced, that is, your chakras do not work harmoniously, but chaotically, then this will inevitably lead to an unbalanced physical and mental state. Therefore, I ask you, my dear ones, if you feel the slightest wormhole in your inner state, do not let this process take its course, but stop and analyze the events of the last days in order to understand what was the trigger of this state. Only such a conscious attitude to the slightest nuances of your life will allow you to maintain a balance between the energetic, physical and mental components of your inner state, which means that you will always be in harmony with yourself and the world around you. And I bless you for that. The Father Absolute, who loves you immensely, spoke to you.